to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Diffuse, mine, it can't be diffused. If you ain't thinking the same, then we playing by different rules. You can't see the vision, we living at different views. Until we complete the mission, keep getting up, never snooze. I walked a mile in my shoes, had the mind of a fool, chasing diamonds and jewels. Trust me, I was confused. Started minding my business and used my mind as a tool. Ended up finding my purpose and found the time to get to it. They told me I couldn't do it, they told me I couldn't make it. They sold it, could never break it. That's sadly mistaken. I need a piece of the pie, I want it so bad I can taste it. They told me like Toby, keep on running toes, they gon' take them. Refuse to lose, built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I pay for the cost, I'm winning to win. Yeah. Refuse to lose, I'm built to win. Applied myself, I filled it in. No time for the doubt, they counted me out, I'm getting it in. Yeah. No time for no loss, I'm paying the cost, I'm in it to win. Yeah. Refuse.
Welcome back to CTC. I'm your gracious host, Carl, and I'm back for another episode. And today, this morning, we will be talking about the Week 12 preview that starts in about an hour and 20 minutes. Please, if you haven't, please like, comment, share, subscribe. It helps the channel, it helps the network, it helps my channel, CTC, by way of the Refuse to Lose Network. Now, like I said, this is a network, so we have shows. We have the main show featuring Joe, Tomo, and Dave. They go live every Tuesday and Friday, 7 to about 8:30ish. So make sure y'all tune into them there. We have Unfazed every Tuesday, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. Make sure y'all tune into them there. We have BWT, Baseball with Teddy. We got Baseball with Teddy. They just announced some awards. Shout out the GOAT, MVP, 4 out of 5 seasons. Aaron Judge gets his third AL MVP. So shout out Aaron Judge for that. And my boy Schoolball takes home the AL Cy Young Award. Wasn't no doubt. And then Skeens, I believe, takes home the NL Award. So shout out to those guys. We got fantasy football with Coach Coombs. Week 11 started Thursday. Not too many fantasy points outside a couple guys like Diggs, Trayvon. Drake got a couple, but Mac Hollins might have got you a couple depending on what league you playing. But make sure y'all tune in to Coach for his fantasy football advice. We got Dave's Doghouse, highlights and lowlights of sport. We got RBO, Real Ballers Only, featuring Vaughn, NBA show. We got In the Red Corner featuring Ty, Ricky, and Tomo, boxing show. They go live every other Sunday, or they normally go live every other Sunday around 7 o'clock. So make sure y'all tune in to that as well. Now, one more thing I want to discuss before we get into the poll talk from the College Football Committee. As you can see, Maction, we're a long way from the undefeated week of Maction we had last week. Now I can explain at least one of these. Really two, but at least one. Daquan Finn, an hour before kickoff, was ruled out due to an illness. As you know, I do my Maction show that Tuesday. That game was on a Wednesday. Unknown. So Toledo absolutely whooped Miami of Ohio in that game due to that. So that was one of my losses. And the other one, man, Buffalo, man, I don't know what Buffalo came to do. Against Central Michigan. But it looked like they just came to turn the ball over because, man, turnovers killed them. But shout out to Chippewas, though. So fire up Chips. Shout out Cuz. She doing her last year at Central Michigan. So shout out to them. But, yeah, so that kind of explains that. But I did get the 6.5-point underdog right at Kent State. They got the W in overtime. So against Akron. So shout out to them. But, yeah, we did not have a great week in Maction. So that explains the 2 and 3 week 12 week. Hopefully, these 13 games I got for y'all can help change that record around. But let's get into the polls from the College Football Committee. Like I said, I did my show Tuesday before the game. So the College Football Committee literally named their top 25 after I got off live. So we're going to react to it now with a little poll talk. And as you guys could imagine, Ohio State stays at number 1. No shocker there. Indiana stayed at 2. Some would say that's a shocker considering that they thought Texas A&M would jump Indiana. I didn't think they would. Texas A&M stays at 3. Bama stays at 4. Georgia stays at 5. And this is where we get some change because Texas Tech moves up 2 spaces to 6 after dominating BYU, which I figured they would. Not move up, but dominate BYU. Ole Miss drops back 1 to 7. So Texas Tech can take that spot. And I'm glad they didn't do the 6-6. Like, oh, they're both ranked 6. No, 1 to 6, 1 to 7. I'm glad they did that. Number 8, Oregon moves up 1 spot. 9, Notre Dame moves up 1 spot. Texas moves up to 10. And BYU, after that loss, drops back 5 spaces to 12. So far, I'm cool. Utah, 13. Can't jump Utah in front of BYU because BYU won the Holy War. So I respect that. 14, Vanderbilt. I can dig it. 15, Miami. And move up some spots. If you're a Miami Hurricane fan, got to feel good. 16, Georgia Tech. I like Miami in front of Georgia Tech because Miami did have the hardest schedule. And their 2 losses are to Louisville, which I don't know what Louisville was doing last night. They choked. They wanted to lose. And SMU, who currently has, 1 ACC loss. Behind them is USC at 17. Michigan behind them at 18, which is the way it should be. Love that. Virginia at 19. Now, I do feel like that was harsh moving Virginia back 5 spaces, seeing as though Virginia really lost because Chandler Morris got knocked out because of a late hit, unnecessary roughness penalty. I do think that was a little harsh. Louisville was at 20, which they just lost, so they're going to be out. 21 is Iowa. They move back 1 space after losing to Oregon. Respect it. Pitt at 22, move up 2 spaces. Tennessee at 23, moves up 2 spaces. Again, to me, Tennessee should not even be here. 24, South Florida, love to see it. Cincinnati at 25 after being unranked. I'm okay with that as well. Now, again, I don't think Tennessee should be in here. They don't have a good win. This is their wins. Syracuse, not a good win. East Tennessee, FCS. UAB, not a good win. Mississippi State, they only have 1 SEC win, and I think that's the Arkansas. Arkansas, not a good win. And Kentucky, not a good win. So they have no good wins. They didn't beat Oklahoma, they didn't beat Bama, and they didn't beat Georgia. Every good team they played, they lost. But because they're in the SEC, they get grace. I actually got a former teammate of my high school days on the coaching staff. There's no disrespect to y'all, but y'all just don't have a good win. And in my opinion, y'all don't deserve to be ranked. But that is the top. Oh, I mean, if you want to ask who I think should be in, I see JMU, James Madison, in the coaches poll. I mean, not coaches poll, AP poll. I love that. I'm not mad at that at all. Tulane, a team I've been advocating for. Love it. I mean, it's hard to say ECU because they got 3 losses, so I can't say that. Yeah, I say Tulane, JMU, one of them. I wouldn't be mad at. But that's it for the polls. Let's these matchups under this comment. He said these 13 games gonna be lit. Ohio State number 1. Let's go. I will say this. I see a lot of people killing Dan Orlovsky for what he said about Ohio State being the least tested number 1 school because they played Texas week 1 in which Arch Manning looked trash. He's not 100% wrong. He's not wrong at all, in my opinion. I actually agree with Brad. What test? What test did they face? What, Penn State? They ain't faced a test yet. We all know what the test is going to be is when they play against them boys from up north. In my opinion, I absolutely agree. They have not been tested. I mean, I don't think Washington's a test. Purdue, Penn State, Wisconsin. I mean, people say, whoa, Penn State, they barely lost to Indiana. They had them on the ropes. I mean, this is also a place where Indiana has never won in. So there's that. Minnesota, they've been getting shellacked week to week now. Your only big test is Texas. But, hey, you got a chance to prove everybody wrong the last week of the season against them boys up north. So there you go. Now let's get into these games. And at first, we're going to start with Notre Dame. 9th ranked Notre Dame at 22nd ranked Pitt. This game is 12 o'clock today on ABC. Now, Notre Dame comes into this as 12.5-point favorites on the road, might I add, for Notre Dame. You already know they got to run Jeremiah Love. You already know that's going to be the main thing for Notre Dame to get established. You got to pressure Mason Show. He came in, stepped in for Eli Holstein. And Pitt's been on a 5-game winning streak. So hey, the decision that Pat Narduzzi made looks like a good one so far, but this is a big test. You got to get Jordan Faison on the ball, in my opinion. You want to force third and longs for the Pitt offense with your defense that you do have. It'll be a long day if they're consistently facing third and longs. And you want to score, in my opinion, with that defense. You want to put up points and make Mason Highshaw, honestly, in his first real test, put pressure on him to lead drives to match your offense. Now, if you're Pitt, you want to stop the run. To me, the run is number one on Notre Dame's to-do list. You want to get Desmond Reed the ball any way possible. Welcome back, Desmond Reed, your X factor, your best player. He's a great running back, great receiving back. He's a receiver at running back. You want to give him the ball any way possible. Make this a low-scoring game. And you want to force some turnovers and get Kenny Johnson the ball on the outside as well. But my winner, because I need to blow my nose. My winner, I don't think I got nothing happening over here. I'm going with Notre Dame. To me, Pitt hasn't been tested all year in terms of a team like Notre Dame. Their best test to me was NC State. And I'm not going to say that's not a test because NC State has some good wins. But they're not a Notre Dame. And I do think Notre Dame with this defense and their ability to run the ball is going to be overwhelming. And I will say when they were tested against a Louisville team and they had a 17-point lead, they lost. So give me Notre Dame in this one to win this game. I do think that Jeremiah Love has another extraordinary day. He says we're going in there and turn into Jon Snow, King of the North. Okay. I mean, if any team beat Michigan, good with me. So shout out to y'all. Next, speaking of, oh, thank God. Michigan plays at Northwestern, but not at Northwestern. They play at Wrigley Field. Northwestern is just the home team, but this is a technically neutral site game because it's not at the university. It's at Wrigley Field. Michigan comes into this one as 10.5-point favorites. The line has dropped. At one point, it was at the start, it was at 14.5 and moved all the way down to 10.5. But Northwestern coming into this game after a bad loss at USC. Second half, it went downhill. This game is 12 o'clock on Fox. As I blow my nose. Real quick, because it was running. Sorry about that. Should have muted my mic. But it's a human thing. Michigan. Got to pressure Preston Stone. Got to put some pressure on that boy. I think most quarterbacks are great when the pocket's clean. But, some of them are only great when the pocket is clean. And I don't want to say Preston Stone is only great when the pocket is clean. But it's a drastic drop-off. So, want to put pressure on Preston Stone. Have to pass efficiently. I keep saying this. Michigan needs to find a passing game, especially against good defenses like a Northwestern, like a Nebraska, like Ohio State. I'm trying to think of Big Ten defense, like an Indiana. When you go against those type of defenses in Iowa, you got to find a passing game. And I think they're going to have to find one today. Established Jordan Marshall, who's in the place of injured Justice Haynes. He's out. Contain Caleb Kumalafe, who's been having a good year ever since he stepped in for the injured Cam Porter. He's been having a great year. So got to contain him and make Northwestern catch up to you. So what I mean by that is you have to put the pressure on Northwestern to score. That's what I mean by that. Now, for Northwestern, establish Cam Kumalafe. I think that's probably going to be number one on the to-do list. You do have great receivers on the outside. Speaking of one of them, you have to get the ball to Griffin Wildy, one of those great receivers on the outside. Get Michigan offense behind the chains. Like I said, man, they're not great. The greatest at passing the football. So when you put them in passing situations, it allows your defense to eat. Win the turnover battle and contain Bryce Underwood's legs. My winner in this one, I hate to do it, but I am taking Michigan. So no bias on the show. I just think that Michigan defense has been the backbone of this team. I think also the backbone of this team is their ability to run the football. So I think they will give Northwestern offense troubles, and they will give them troubles enough to where Michigan can finally get drives together to take the lead. I do see this being a really good game, though. I don't see this a blowout in any way, shape, or form. I took it up to Northwestern at 14.5, like the original line was, just so I could have that cushion of 2 touchdowns. But I do like Michigan in this matchup. I think they're the better defense, the better run game, and they'll find a way to win this game in Wrigley Field. Next, we have Arizona at 25th ranked Cincinnati. This game is 12 o'clock on FS1. Cincinnati is 6.5-point home favorites in this one. Cincinnati, this is a no, this is not a bounce back spot. This didn't happen this week. But anyway, Cincinnati, potent offense. But Arizona, they got to establish Ishmael Mahdi. Just to get the pressure off of North Fida. Get Chris Hudson the ball. North Fida. I feel like in this game, Fida's going to have to use his legs. I know he likes to be in that pocket, deliver a good football. I think he has to use his legs a little bit in this game. Contain Brendan Sorsby with his running ability, especially because there was still no word when I did my notes this morning about whether Evan Pryor was playing or not. There was optimism that he's a go, but there's no official word when I looked. And you want to get off the field on third downs if you're Arizona. Now, if you're Cincinnati, establish Evan Pryor, who is questionable, or Tyree Walker, whoever is the starter. Get Cyrus Allen the ball. Use Brendan Sorsby's legs, pressure North Fida, and score. Now, the reason why I said that is because Cincinnati puts up a lot of points. And I feel like they're not the greatest defensively, but they are competent defensively. So if they're scoring a lot, forcing Arizona to match, I do think Arizona does start to stall out a little bit. And that's why I'm going with Cincinnati, because I do think Cincinnati is a potent offense where they can score a ton, forcing Arizona to match. And I do think from time to time, Arizona will stall out, allowing Cincinnati to build on whatever lead they do come up with. And so I'm going with Cincinnati in this one at home to win this game. Next, we have 11th ranked Oklahoma at 4th ranked Alabama. This game is 3:30 on ABC. Alabama is 6.5-point home favorites in this matchup. Now for Oklahoma, got to get John Mateer going with some easy throws. Wait, I got to make sure that John Mateer is actually playing. But you want to get whoever's the quarterback. I want to say it is John Mateer though. Going with some easy throws. I want to say he is the go. Yeah, he's a go. All right, so cool. Oh no, I'm thinking of R. Mason Thomas, which I don't got no notes about him today. So, but John Mateer, you want to get some easy throws. You want to stop Alabama's hot starts. Like I've been saying it all year. Alabama, they start off high. Even the Florida State game, the first drive was a touchdown. Now, after that, it was a little slow. But Alabama normally starts games hot. So you want to kind of put a stop to that. Protect the football. You want to establish the run, namely Xavier Robinson. And you want to you want to pressure Ty Simpson. Now, if you're Alabama, you want to establish Jam Miller. You want to establish the run against this stout Oklahoma defense. Why? Because they're not so their D-line don't pin their ears back trying to take your quarterback's head off. You want to get Jeremy Bernard the ball. He's just a dog. He's explosive. He makes big plays. You want to give him the ball. Ryan Williams, he did make a great play last week, but we know Ryan Williams has been a roller coaster all year. We know that. So we don't know how he's going to be from week to week. Now, I would say try to give him the ball, and let's see what Ryan Williams we get this week. But he's just been a roller coaster. I would love for him to get out of his head and be the guy that we all think he is, though. I want to throw that out there. Continue with the hot starts, because I think if you do start hot against Oklahoma and put the pressure on them to score, their offense might be turning the ball over. Win the turnover battle. That was big for Oklahoma against Tennessee. When Tennessee started off, they actually scored a touchdown off a penalty, but then Tennessee started to turn the ball over with a scoop and score a touchdown by R. Mason Thomas, and then they threw 2 picks before half. You want to win the turnover battle against Oklahoma, and you want to contain John Mateer's legs. Now, my winner in this is Alabama. Going with Alabama. Why? I just think Alabama's the better offense. Now, I do possibly give the slight edge to Oklahoma's defense, but Oklahoma away from Norman, to me, is not like Oklahoma at Norman, and this game is on the road. I do trust Alabama will score points against this defense, and Alabama, I think, will be good against the run. They haven't been, they're not throughout the year, they haven't been the greatest against the run, but I feel like they have gotten a little better against it, and I think they do a good job against Oklahoma today, and I ultimately think they get the job done, and they win in Tuscaloosa today. Next, we have 19th ranked Virginia at Duke. Duke comes into this one as 3.5-point home favorites. This game is 3:30 on ESPN2. Now, Virginia is Chandler Moore's a go. He was upgraded to, I think, probable, coming off the concussion protocols. There is no word yet whether he's fully a go, at least from last time I checked. If he is a go, that is huge because in my opinion, they beat Wake Forest if Chandler Morris doesn't get knocked out the game. You want to establish Jamari Taylor, the running back, contain Darian Miss's legs, get Cam Ross the ball in open space, and Trevor Harris the ball, and force turnovers if you UVA, because that's huge. I mean, last week against Wake Forest, they were the ones turning the ball over. But this week, you want to force turnovers, especially because, like I said, man, when Duke loses games, it's normally in part to turnovers. Duke, prepare as if Chandler Morris is playing. Just because he brings the added dimension of running the football, he's way more accurate, and the offense looks a lot better with Chandler Morris on the field. So if you prepare for him in the backup plays, I think you'll be over-prepared defensively. Establish Nate Shepard, get Cooper Bearcat the ball, protect the football. Like I said, when they lose, it's normally because they turn the rock over, and stop Virginia's run, i.e. Jamari Taylor, if Chandler Morris isn't playing. But my winner, I'm going to say Chandler Morris plays, and I'm going to say Virginia wins the ball game because this team looks different with Chandler Morris playing. They're super explosive offensively. They're tough to stop. Defensively, Virginia is a really good school. They're really good defensively. And I feel like they got their playing with fire game out the way. I know for the past couple of weeks, Virginia's been playing with fire. Washington State, they were playing with fire. North Carolina, they were playing with fire. They got that game out the way, losing to the Wake Forest. So I think they got burned by the fire last week, i.e. I know Morris was out. Still, I think they got that game out of the way. I think the defense of Virginia does a pretty good job. I think Jamari Taylor has an amazing day, fix my vernacular, has an amazing day on the ground. And I just think Virginia gets this job done on the road to where they all but lock up a spot in the ACC championship game. Because right now, they only have one loss in ACC play, and that was last week to Wake Forest. Now, you might be saying, Carl, they lost to NC State early in the year. That was not an ACC game. I know. I discussed it early in the preseason. If you knew or didn't know, it's weird. I know. But they scheduled a home-to-home. So I think it was like before the new ACC layout. So it's not an ACC game. It's a regular game. So, yeah. Next, we got NC State looking to upset another ranked opponent. This time they're looking at 15th ranked Miami Hurricanes. This game is 3:30 on ESPN. Miami comes into this as 14.5-point home favorites in this matchup. Now, for NC State, obviously, you want to run CJ Bailey, your dynamic quarterback who had a day against the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. You want to score. Why? Because the issue for NC State is their defense. So I feel like Miami is going to score almost every time they touch the rock. So offensively, you got to put up points to match that. Establish Hollywood Smothers, who is questionable today to return. Pressure Carson Beck. Make him turn that ball over. And if Justin Jolly, who is also questionable, is not a go, who is going to step up for this NC State Wolfpack receiving corps? Is it Noah Rogers? Who knows? Next, Miami. Carson Beck got to protect the football. And their two losses. Carson Beck had 4 interceptions and 2 interceptions. In the 2 interception game, hold on, timeout. Shout out Germany. Oh, hold on. Shout out. Let's get that on the screen. Did not say that first. Anyway, Miami. Like I said, when Carson Beck, he had the 2 turnovers. One of them, not really his fault, but the second one was in the red zone in overtime, cost them to lose. So yeah, got to protect the ball. Get Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels the ball, which CJ Daniels is questionable to return today. Contain CJ Bailey's legs, which is huge for him both in the run and the pass. Get off the field on third downs, and who will step up in Mark Fletcher's absence, who is out today. But my winner, going with the U. I'm going with the Hurricanes, man. That defense at NC State scares me. It scares me a ton. So I'm going with the U here. I think they score the ball almost every time they touch the rock. Now I know Miami got some injuries on the defensive back position with not Keelan Murray, that's the receiver. Keontae Scott. I think he's supposed to be out today, but I do trust that this Miami front seven dominates the NC State front seven. I do think Miami gets stops necessary to win this game. It's just Carson Beck has to protect the football, and I think they'll be fine. So I am going with Miami because I just trust Miami's defense over NC State's defense. So next, we got Iowa, 21st ranked Iowa at 17th ranked USC, 3:30 on Big Ten Network. This should be a really good game. Iowa's coming into this one after a tough loss to Oregon. USC is coming into this one after a great win against Northwestern. And it was at home, so USC gets back-to-back home games, which, I mean, Iowa had back-to-back home games, so something had to give. This is USC's second one, so I like that there. So, Iowa, stay ahead of the chains. You got to stay ahead of the chains because they love to run the football. Establish Kamari Moulton because Iowa loves to run the football. Mark Gronowski is going to have to be accurate. They got to complete passes. This has been Iowa's kryptonite for years. If they just had a quarterback that can really throw the ball, they could be a top school. If he can really throw the ball today, he can really put some pressure on USC. Pressure Jaden Mayava and stop the run of King Miller and the boys in that backfield for USC. Now, for USC, establish King Miller. Got to establish him, got to run the ball. You got to find a way to run the ball. Give Malachi Lemon and Jacoby Lane the ball. I'm also throw Lake McCree in there, tight end as well. You want to get him the ball as well. Next, get Iowa offense behind the chains. Contain Mark Gronowski's legs. And you got to be better against the run because Iowa's coming in this ball game, especially with the weather conditions. It's supposed to be real muggy. They're going to come in here wanting to establish the run and beat you up front. You got to do a better job against the run today. Nebraska did a great job with running the ball against y'all. Y'all got to find a way to stop the run. Now, my winner in this one, I'm taking USC. Now, I'm taking them because they're at home. This was in Iowa. I might have took Iowa. But NSC, home crowd, going to be back and forth. And I'm also taking them because Mark Gronowski, man, I got to depend on him to throw the ball. I'm not so certain he's capable of doing it consistently enough to win this game. I think he does it consistently enough to make this a good game, a close game. They might even be up late. But I think USC ultimately takes this game. So give me SC in this one. I'm taking USC. Next, we got a big American Athletic Conference game. We have Memphis at the East Carolina Pirates today, 4 o'clock on ESPNU. East Carolina is -3.5 home favorites against Memphis. Now, I will say this. I've been looking. Nothing. I can't find nothing about Brandon Lewis today. I'm just assuming he's not playing. I can't find anything. All I could find is that he re-aggravated his ankle against Tulane, which I already knew that. I need to know if he's playing or not. But I couldn't find nothing. So my first point is it looks like Brandon Lewis is out. Point blank. It looks like he's out. You got to establish the run. Sutton Smith, somebody got to establish that run. You got to stop the run of East Carolina. So London Montgomery, you got to stop him. Pressure Caden Hauser and get off the field on third down. So I do feel like that's an issue for Memphis getting off the field on third down, especially in the first half. Second half, they turned a whole new leaf. For ECU, establish London Montgomery. Get the ball to Anthony Smith. Pressure the quarterback. I put in parentheses Arrington Maiden because, again, it just seems like Brandon Lewis is not going. Stop the run and score. Because I feel like if ECU putting up a ton of points with the defense that they have and the backup plan for Memphis, I think it might be a wrap. So I'm going with ECU. Why? I don't trust the backup. I seen the backup last week. Did not look great. Now, granted, he got thrusted in the fire against Tulane. So I kind of want to give him partial grace for that. But I also seen ECU defense. ECU's defense is really, to me, it's underrated. I think it's really good. I've been watching Caden Hauser, shout out MSU, the Michigan State transfer, since last year. He's found his bearings at ECU. He's been doing a great job at ECU. And I love London Montgomery, and they can pound the rock. I think they're a good team in the American Athletic Conference. They pound the rock really well. And I think ultimately they can bully Memphis's front seven. And I think ECU gets the job done at home. And they put themselves in great position to possibly play for an American Athletic Championship. So, yeah, shout out to the ECU Pirates. Next, we have Utah at Baylor. Utah comes into this one's 8.5-point favorites. Baylor not having quite the year I thought they would have. They're playing pretty well. They're pretty decent, but not to the standard I had. This game is 7 o'clock on ESPN2. And if I didn't say Utah's 13th ranked overall, Utah comes to this one's 8.5-point road favorites, which is a decent little number being on the road. So for the Utah Utes, you want to pressure Sawyer Robertson. He's another one of those guys. He looks drastically different under pressure than with a clean pocket. Stop Bryson Washington. You want to put a halt to that. You want to run Devin Dampier, get Ryan Davis the ball, and Smith Snowden, who plays both sides of the ball, and establish Wayshawn Parker, the running back, transferred from Washington State. Now, if you are Baylor, you want to get Michael Trigg and Josh Cameron the ball. Michael Trigg, man, let's talk about him real quick. Michael Trigg is looking like the best tight end in the draft. He is going. He's going bonkers. He's going ridiculous. Him. And who am I thinking of? Tanner Kozil's another one. Looks like a top tight end tight end prospect for the NFL. Two phenomenal tight ends, man. He's going crazy. You got to contain Devin Dampier's legs. You want to force turnovers against this Utah offense. Get off the field on third downs because that's tough. That is a problem for the Baylor Bears defense. I'm not going to lie. And you got to protect Sawyer Robertson so he can deliver a football. But going with Utah defense is just, I think it's just going to be too much. I think Utah's defense is too much. They fly around. They're going to be too fast. I do think Michael Trigg, he gets his own because he's going to get targeted a lot. But ultimately, I think this Utah defense stifles this Baylor offense. And then Utah's offense is really, really good. And with Baylor's inability to get off the field on third downs, I do think Utah scores a ton of points. And ultimately, they could possibly run away with this game. So give me Utah over Baylor. We have 4 more games to go here. We are going to keep it going with Texas at Georgia. Georgia comes into this one 6.5-point home favorites. This is also, my bad, let me say the rank is 10th ranked Texas at 5th ranked Georgia. This is huge. This is a huge game, not only for the SEC title game implications, but playoff implications. Texas lose this game, they can almost but certainly kiss the playoffs goodbye. While hey, chill out, baby. If you in this joint, I see your comment, bro, in the chat. But yeah, Texas could almost kiss the playoffs goodbye. While Georgia, they lose this game, they'll lose a tiebreaker to Texas in terms for the SEC championship game. So they would need Texas to lose another game. But I mean, ultimately, it may be for nothing because Texas A&M is undefeated, and then you got Bama with 1 loss. It's the SEC is a tight race right now. Vanderbilt's in that race as well. I mean, Texas got the tiebreaker over Vandy, but it's just a crazy race here in the SEC. But for Texas, get Arch Manning some easy rhythm throws. I mean, 2 weeks ago against Vanderbilt, he got that 75-yard touchdown pass to Ryan Wingo. So look, I mean, if you could get something like that to start the day, that'd be huge for Arch Manning. Establish Contravion Wisener in the running game for the Texas Longhorns. Get Ryan Wingo the ball. You want to stop the run of the Georgia Bulldogs. That's Nate Frazier and Chauncey Bowens, Josh McCray on short down situations. And you want to pressure Gunnar Stockton, to my opinion, who I still kind of don't have an opinion on Gunnar Stockton. Like, I don't know whether I like him or I don't. I kind of lean to the fact that I'm not really the biggest fan of Gunnar Stockton, but I'm still kind of in, I don't want to say purgatory, but I'm on the fence still. Georgia, 4th, 3rd, and longs. I do think that'd be tough for Arch Manning to complete, especially if you remember the games against Georgia. That Georgia D-line, for some reason, just dominates the Texas O-line. Now, I mean, granted, it's different players there, but still, you just got to keep that in mind. Contain Arch Manning's legs. Establish Nate Frazier and Chauncey Bowens. Force turnovers, because that's huge. And get Zachariah Branch the ball in open space. And I think London Humphreys is going to be big in this match for Georgia. So, with that being said, I'm going to take Georgia in this matchup. I do think that Georgia, yet again, beats Texas. I do think Georgia can dominate on the ground. The type of backs they have against the Texas defense, which this defense is stout. Do not get me wrong. This Texas defense is tremendously stout. But Georgia's battle-tested. Georgia's been in games where they've been down big, come back and win. Georgia's been in games where it looks like they can't get nothing done. Come out, and now they're moving the rock. So, and let's not ultimately forget that Kirby Smart got the refs in his back pocket with the infamous I was calling timeout play. I'm joking, but that I was calling timeout play is ridiculous. But I do think Georgia is super battle-tested, and it's at home in Athens. I think that home crowd is going to be rocking. Night game, the fireworks, the environment. Might be a little bit too much for Arch Manning and the boys, so I'm going to take Georgia in this one. Now, shout out my boy Vaughn in the comment section. He did put the fire emojis. Shout out my dog there. But we're gonna move on to Kennesaw State minus 3.5 at Jack State. Y'all know I'm coming at y'all with some group of 5 play, man. Who would I be if I don't got y'all some group of 5 play when we got 2 undefeated in conference teams in the Conference USA battling out to see who's the number 1 seed? We got Kennesaw State, who is surprisingly undefeated in my opinion in Conference USA, and Jack State, who's the reigning Conference USA champs. Yes, they won the championship game. I know Western Kentucky won the conference regular season. That don't matter. The conference championship goes to my opinion, the championship game winner, and that was Jack State, which I'm surprised I didn't buy a Jack State conference championship game shirt. I might buy one. Anyway, I think this is going to be a really good game for Kennesaw State. Gabriel Benyard is out. Someone has to step up in his place. He is the big-time receiver for Kennesaw State. He makes all the big plays. Somebody has to step up in his absence. Contain Caden Creel's legs. It's going to be huge because they love to run the ball at Jack State. Just because Rich Rod has left, nothing has changed. Charles Kelly, he was there with him. He runs the same style of offense. Get Jack State offense behind the chains. It's always going to be key for any team playing Jack State. Stop Cam Cook. The transfer of TCU is having a phenomenal year in Conference USA, looking like the best back in Conference USA. And Amari Odom has to be more efficient passing the football. Last week, 14-30, under 50% is unacceptable. Got to be better against the Jack State defense. Now, for Jack State, stay ahead of schedule. You got to stay ahead of schedule. Establish Cam Cook. Get off the field on third downs. That is big for Jack State defense, excuse me. They got to get off the field, man. I've watched plenty of games where they cannot get off the field. They still win, but they do have trouble getting off the field on third downs. Have to establish a passing game. And you got to force some turnovers against the Kennesaw State offense. But my winner, going Jack State, and the technical upset being 3.5-point home dogs. I'm going with them because I think they just do a great job establishing the run. I don't think that changed. Being at home at night again, I think they do a great job on the run. I think Kennesaw State, missing Gabriel Benyard is huge for them. Like I said, he's their big play receiver. He makes all the big plays. He makes whenever they need a play. You can go to him, and it's fine. Him not being there, it's going to be huge. And Amari Odom, man, passing the football, I don't know what I don't know what to expect from him. So I'm going to take Jack State on this one to take over the number 1 seed in the Conference USA standings. Shout out my boy Teddy. Just went over USC a couple games ago. Once the live is over, you can go back and listen. But he got a big game, man, coming up. No big USC fan. Next, I got some late night Big 12 action. TCU at 12th ranked BYU. This game is 10:15 on ESPN. Oh, I didn't shout out YouTube TV and Disney getting an agreement. Disney channels are back on YouTube TV. So before y'all be like Disney channels, oh no, ESPN is back. ESPN2, ESPNU, ABC. Am I missing anything? I think ESPN News, forget it. All that is back. So I can get back to watching games on Multiview on Saturdays. Oh, it was terrible the last couple Saturdays without it. Gosh, man, it was. But I meant to take this comment off the screen, my bad. But we are back. We are back. You are right. All is right in the world. Now, let's talk about TCU BYU. BYU comes into this one as 3.5-point home favorites. Now, TCU, you got to protect Josh Hoover against this BYU defense. Let him sit back there and pick BYU apart if you can. You got to establish Jeremy Payne, who's going to be in for the injured Kavarian Barnes, who looks like he is out from last I checked. Get Eric McAllister and Joseph Manjack the ball. Contain Bear Bachmeyer, who is, man, he is tough to stop. He get a head full of steam. He rode at 47. He looks like a linebacker running that route. And you got to get BYU behind the chains, even though I do think Bear Bachmeyer has the prowess to throwing the football and converting on third downs. That's not what BYU wants to do consistently. Now for BYU, LJ Martin is back, and you have to establish LJ Martin. Pressure Josh Hoover. Force turnovers, which BYU does quite well. Run Bear Bachmeyer and give Parker Kingston and Chase Roberts the ball. 2 athletes, man. Chase Roberts, I always praise him on my show. Chase Roberts is a receiver who makes every type of catch you need, and Parker Kingston is just a burner. You want to get him the ball in open space and let him make plays. And my winner, I'm going BYU. And I was actually surprised that the line was so short, being that BYU's at home. But I'm taking BYU, man. I'm taking BYU to win this game. This defense, I think this defense can stifle Josh Hoover. Kavarian Barnes being out is such a huge loss for TCU. I think it is a very big loss, more than what Vegas is taking account for. But hey, who am I? And I just think this BYU offense gets rolling again. And I think this is a great bounce back spot at home after the Texas Tech beatdown. So give me BYU to win this one. And before I do this last game, shout out my boy David Burns, avid listener to the show. He said, watching from Cedar Hill, Texas. He asked me, what did I miss? Man, you missed 12 games of action, man. 12 games of action. I did cover the Michigan Northwestern game super early in the pod. You have to go back to that. So make sure you listen to that. Not going to lie, I do have Michigan beating y'all. I'm sorry. But I do think y'all make this a really good game. And I respect Northwestern, man. Y'all had a great season, in my opinion. Y'all are having a great season, in my opinion. But it's 12 other games. I am on the last game today that I'm going over. And that's another group of 5 matchup. We got Boise State, who needs this win badly. Oh, I didn't put this on the ticker. Hold on. Boise State needs this win badly. After losing 2 straight. They lost to Fresno State. I forgot who else they lost to. They lost to somebody else. Or maybe that was the Fresno State game I'm just thinking about, and it was just that bad. I didn't expect them to lose to Fresno State at all. And we got San Diego State coming off of a bad loss to Hawaii, man. Like I said, that game, let me know. This year, at least, I'm not betting against Hawaii in Hawaii. They are just unbeatable. They're like, I don't know if y'all remember like Madden 08 when you used to do the creative team mode, or you had to go against like the Madden teams, and they had like the frozen team where they can go invisible, or you had the team full of dummies who was like all 99s, and then they had like the Madden team that got like the 5th downs, and they were like cheating and stuff like that. You play in a space below the earth, catch my drift. But yeah, it just seemed like Hawaii's that, like, they just untouchable in Hawaii. But yeah, this is a big game in Mountain West play. The loser of this is basically all but eliminated from Mountain West contention. So yeah, like I said, it's a huge game. Now, wait, hold on. I got Boise State pulled up right here. Not Mountain West. Yeah, Mountain West. Why am I tripping? Because I hit Mountain West and it's showing standings for the American. I don't know why I did that. And I was showing the map. My God. Here we go. Boise State in conference is 4-1. Yeah, so they lost to Fresno State. San Diego State conference 4-1. They are tied atop the conference. So literally the winner of this is the leader in the Mountain West. So huge game. Boise State got to establish the run. Why? Maddox Madsen is out. There's no Maddox Madsen at quarterback. Got to establish the run to help your backup quarterback. Max Cutforth got to help him out. Stop the run. San Diego State, they got a running back on their own. Lucky Son, who loves to run the ball, is really dominant. Got to score touchdowns, not field goals. It's going to be tough against the San Diego State defense, especially after what Hawaii did to them. I know they don't get back, so you got to put up touchdowns, not field goals. Force turnovers and give Chris Marshall and Latrell Capers the ball to help out your backup quarterback and Max Cutforth. Now, if you're San Diego State, establish Lucky Sutton, establish the run, basically. San Diego State got to get Jordan Napier the ball, one of the best receivers in the Mountain West. Pressure Max Cutforth, the backup. Let's see what he's made of. Win the turnover battle and stop the run. Now, my winner, I'm going with San Diego State. Why? Huge bounce back spot after that tough beating they took against Hawaii. That defense is definitely looking to bounce back and turn the ball over. And unfortunately, Boise State starter is out. So think there might be a bad day at the office passing the ball with the San Diego State defense, who has been phenomenal all year except that one game. So I am going to take San Diego State in this matchup. That is it. That is all I have for y'all today. The games kick off in about 40 minutes. We do got a lot of college basketball on today, so make sure y'all tune into that. We had a couple good games last night. I ain't gonna lie, I was hate watching Michigan last night, but they got the job done against TCU. Oh, I was hoping TCU was able to pull that off, but they got it done. Arizona got it done against UCLA last night. Gonzaga, man, looking unstoppable early. Got another double-digit win this time against Arizona State. So another good win for Gonzaga. So great college basketball going on so far. She said, from what I heard, it's going to be a beautiful day in Boise State. It should be no problem. Ugh. Yeah, man. with Maddox Madsen, I still would take San Diego State, but I say they'll be able to put up a better fight. But no Maddox Madsen, and I'm already not the biggest fan of Maddox Madsen, but with no Maddox Madsen, I think that San Diego State defense is gonna be very dominant. And he said, yes, I like Arizona State a lot. They look good. I said they look good last night. It's just Gonzaga, man. Gonzaga old. They were talking about how old Gonzaga is. They were saying Gonzaga is older than like the Pacers. I think they said they were older than the Suns, the Wizards. So yeah, Gonzaga is just an old team, man. But that's all I got for y'all today. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Saturday morning. I don't know when I'll be back with y'all because tomorrow I'm hitting the road. We got another 9:30 NFL game. Don't know if I'll be on here for that. I mean, if the game is trash, I'll probably get it out the way. I mean, it is Commanders Dolphins. That game could stink. Then Monday is my birthday, so definitely not going like. Well, I might still get y'all a show Monday, whatever. So we'll see when I return. But y'all enjoy these college football Saturdays. I'm gone. Peace.